Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us. This is the Traders Exclusive Live Trader Showcase for September. I'm Sherry. If you need me for anything, please email me at support@tradersexclusive.com. And we're so happy you could be here with us. Please check out tradersexclusive.com, where we regularly post articles and video clips with valuable trading tips and strategies. That's also where you're going to find a recording of today's webinar. And of course, we always get started with our disclaimer, where you should carefully consider whether trading is suitable for you in light of your circumstances, knowledge, and financial resources. You may lose all or more of your initial investment. Opinions, market data, and recommendations are subject to change at any time. This is teaching and training. Please check it out for yourself. Do your due diligence. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future result. Moomoo is our sponsor for September. With Moomoo, you get free access to real-time LV2 market data of US stocks. And for a limited time, join 19 million Moomoo users and get up to 16 free stocks, including a Tesla or a Google, when you register for a new account with this link. And you fund it with at least $100. So the way it works out is for the month of September, deposit $100, you get 5 free stocks. If you deposit $1,000, you get the 5 free stocks plus 10 free stocks. And if you want to have a $5,000 account, you get the first 2 tiers plus 1 free share of Tesla or Google. Marina Villatoro of the Trader Chick is here with us. She's going to give us 4 steps to simplify your day trading and understanding the power of the breakout trade. Marina specializes in helping people to day trade with confidence and ease. She simplifies the process by completely breaking down the art of identifying high probability trade setups. Even if you're just getting started, you could learn to day trade profitably and read the markets like a pro. You're going to be amazed at how simple it is. Good morning, Miss Marina. And actually, it is good afternoon for you. Well, I appreciate you taking the time out of your schedule to come see us.
Thank you. Thanks so much, Sherry. Actually, I know how much work it takes, and I hope that you take a break after these summits because they are a lot of work. And thank you for putting all that time and having everybody come here and just working with us. It's always so much fun. And thanks to everyone for being here with us today. I know that, sometimes it's hard to take time out of your day, especially during the week, especially now that kind of life is getting back into the routine again. So thank you everybody for joining us and for being here. So today I am going to be talking about the breakout. But first, I would love to know, where are you guys coming from? Because there's quite a few people already in the room. And do you guys know where the question box is? If not, let me know and I'm happy to show you how to get to it. But I want to know, where are you guys coming from? Where is everyone from right here? The fact that you guys took some time out to be here, I want to know where you are. And the more interactive you guys are, the more you guys will actually really be able to digest everything that is being talked about and to be able to implement, right? I always say that day trading, especially with day trading, it is not a spectator sport. So that goes for everything in life, right? So we have Roger from Ohio. Who else is here? Come on, guys. I want to know, where are you from? So get back to your tables, get back to your computer monitor, because the more you guys are actually right here in front of the screen, the more fun you're going to have and the more I'll be able to teach you as well. All right, David, I tried day trading for a while but failed, and you're from Texas. All that means is that you probably did not fully have a good strategy. So hopefully today you'll be able to understand and be able to spot some cool things to make you more of a success, right? Obviously you are here because you want to give it another shot. I've been there, I've done that. So I'm happy that you are here as well. Joe, you are from Kansas. All right, very cool. So far we have kind of like the mid part of the US. Pretty cool. Usually we have people from all over the world, but right now we're kind of like in the middle part of the United States. Where else are you guys from? Because there's a lot more people than 3 in the room. So let's go back. Let's come back. Come to the room. Come to your monitors. Let's get into this presentation because I guarantee You will get a lot more out of it than just simply flipping it on and walking away. Otherwise, what's the whole point, right? So we're going to hop in and begin the presentation. And again, the more you guys ask, the more I am able to help you as well. The fact that you guys are even sitting here right now shows to us all that you want to be here, that you want to learn, right? And that's the best way to do it, is for me to be able to answer your questions and to be totally able to help you. So today I want to really talk about the breakout trade, because we've all heard about the breakout trade. We know that the breakout trade is an incredibly powerful trade. However, when it comes to spotting it, a lot of people don't fully know what to look for when it's time to spot it. So that's what I really want to talk about. But before we get into it, I am Marina, the Trader Chick, and this is me. So hi everybody, and I'm really happy to be able to present for you guys today. We're going to be talking a lot about the market movements, about the best entries, the profit targets, and also about the breakout itself. But before I do, a lot of times people forget that we are actual humans that sit in front of our charts, right? And all of us have different life paths, right? And I really want to bring that up because a lot of times people have this misconception that for trading, especially, you need to have like a financial background or a math background, and you need to be, you know, really hard-nosed and whatnot. But that's totally not the case. And that's what makes trading so incredible, is that you can literally come from anywhere and be able to trade, and it's just so much fun. So I am Marina, the Trader Chick. I'm actually an expat. I have now been an expat for over 20 years. Before, we lived in Costa Rica, then we lived in Guatemala for many, many, many years. And just about 6 months ago, we moved to Barcelona, Spain. So now I am living here. It is without a doubt the best decision for me and my family. And we are loving living in Barcelona. Before I was a day trader, I was actually a fitness instructor and a travel writer. And again, the reason why I really bring this up is because people don't realize that you truly can come from any kind of path to become a trader. And that is the coolest thing of all. I'm also trilingual. And the main reason I bring this up is I was born in the Soviet Union. I am a Soviet Union refugee. So we arrived to the United States when I was really small. Russian was my mother tongue, but English is obviously my main language because I grew up with English. But the thing with English was I was so young when we moved to the United States that I didn't actually learn a new language as much as I just continued learning how to speak, right? So I went from Russian into English. However, Spanish, I learned when I was in my late 20s. And when you learn a language, a second language, third language in your later years, it is an entirely different process, right? You have to put in all this time to understand. You have to discipline yourself. You have to practice. And one thing I realized when I got into trading, and I was really struggling for the first couple of years, like truly, truly struggling. However, when I started to look at it as a language, that's when everything changed for me. So the reason why I'm bringing up that I'm trilingual is that a lot of times when I give this analogy that you're going to be, if you could look at the market as if though you are learning a new language, I have had so many people come up to me that are like, oh my goodness, you are so right. Now that I'm looking at it as a language, everything has changed for me. I'm starting to understand it. I'm starting to listen to it and read it. And that is literally my goal. So today I'm going to be teaching you guys like the 4 basics, right? Like when you enter a room, you're not going to be completely clueless. You're going to be able to understand the basics and build from that. And the coolest thing about day trading, we can do it from anywhere in the world. That is the coolest thing of all, right? I literally have just one chart. I could travel anywhere. I do travel all the time with my family. Actually, literally right after this presentation, me and my husband are running to pick up our rent-a-car, and the 4 of us with our 2 sons are off to the Pyrenees for the next 4 days. So it's that cool, right? And all I need is my laptop. And that's the greatest thing of all, is that I could do this from anywhere. And that is the best part about trading. And before COVID, I was really, really active in live presentations. I did quite a lot of in-person presentations, especially with the Money Show and the Traders Expo. But since COVID happened, I really enjoy being online, right? These online summits, I feel like there's a lot more reach. And that is the greatest part of all, right? Is that I'm able to help a lot more people. So let's focus on the market. I'm going to be talking about 4 basic strategies, right? So I just want you guys to kind of conceptualize being in an automobile, right? When you first sat into your car, when you first time ever to learn how to drive a car, you probably already forget, but you learned a strategy, right? There is a very significant strategy of how to drive a car. None of us were born driving a car, but today you hop in and it feels pretty automatic for you, right? Like you don't even think about it. So the same thing can happen with the market, but a lot of times what I'm recognizing is that people either completely don't care about learning and they just want to throw their money, or I say donate their money to the market, because there is absolutely no barrier to entry when it comes to the financial markets, right? So the thing is, after they've lost a couple of times, they're either completely quit or they realize, wait, I need to learn as well. And that's the coolest thing of all, is that it's not really that complicated. And you can start to just open your charts and start to see it for what it really is, like the way it is when you enter a car today. Okay, before we go anywhere, I have the entire presentation for you guys on this cheat sheet. It's like a worksheet, because I know that it's a lot of information in the next 1 hour. So I have this all for you, and you guys will be getting the replay, so you'll be able to go over it on your own time as well. Plus, you can follow along as we go through the presentation as well. So please go right here, right now, makingofadaytrader.com. Go to makingofadaytrader.com. You're going to be able to get the sheet right there. It's free, really quick. Makingofadaytrader.com. All right, so let's begin with those basics, right? I always say that a lot of times when I'm seeing people who are entering the markets that just have a little bit of money, what they're doing is they're putting in windows and they don't have any walls to hold those windows up. And those windows just keep on crashing. So it's really crucial, critical, however you want to look at it, to get those walls in so that you are able to place in your windows. You are able to take those really strong, highly probable trades, right? And that's what it's all about. So what are the basics of trading? First and foremost, you cannot drive a minivan in a Formula One race. You can't do that, right? You cannot be a trader or pretend that you're going to be a trader with some rinky-dink app on your phone. You need to have the proper software. And usually that all you need are good, strong platforms. And today, guys, there are a lot of really good, really strong charting softwares for you to be able to use. Okay, when I first began over 11 years ago, there was only like 3 or 4. Today, there's quite a few. And if you're still struggling with which ones work best for you, I'm happy to tell you, because I have seen them all. So you can easily email me or just go to my website and contact me there, thetraderchick.com, and I'm happy to be able to help you with that. But you do need a strong platform. And the benefit of having a really good platform is they come with universal indicators. So you do not need to spend money on indicators. I literally only use 2 indicators, because having a lot of indicators can actually drive you into analysis paralysis, and that's really not where you want to go, right? I only use 2 indicators. I use EMA lines and the MACDs, and that is all that I use, 1 chart. Now remember, everything I'm talking about is right here, makingofadaytrader.com. So go here right now, get your whole presentation so that you can follow along. Okay? All right. So we're going to now begin with the market, the movement of the market and the trend. Look, logistically, we all know that there are three trends, right? We know that there's an upward trend. We know that there's a downward trend. And we kind of know that there is this sideways trend, right? But nobody actually puts the amount of attention on that sideways trend. But if you go back to your trading journal or whatever it is that you're keeping a back test of your trading, of your trades, you will recognize that the majority of the money we end up losing is in a sideways trend. So what is a sideways trend? It's a consolidating market. It's a chop. It's the exhaustion pattern. It's the indecision zone. It doesn't matter what you want to call it. Basically what it is, it's that area where the market really isn't moving. It's kind of flatlining and it's kind of deciding where it's going to go. And when you can recognize the beginning of that and stay out of it, first and foremost, you're going to be able to save so much more money because you're going to avoid that area. And secondly, you're going to be able to enter the trades that are either going to be the breakouts, which are really high probable, or another one, which I call the transition trade. Okay, now, how do you recognize these trending markets? We have the downward trend, again, the sideways trend, or we have the trending, or we have the upward trend, right? So just a really quick breakdown. What is an upward trend? It's literally when each pivot is higher than the next. That's what it is. It's the bull market. It's the market trending up. It's the market moving up. This is where you are entering a buy. This is when you are going long. What does that mean? Look, don't overthink it, guys. It's literally you entering at a lower price point, exiting at a higher price point, and taking your profit in between. That's it. But you have to understand that this is a buy. This is when you're going long. Okay, you're going long. You are buying into the market versus the downward trend. So what is the downward trend? This is where you are selling. This is when you are shorting the market. And if you're going to be sitting here, oh, I'll never short the market because that means other people are losing. And a lot of people have this emotional baggage attached to shorting the market. I don't know why. Who cares who these people are that are losing? Do you know them? I don't know them. They don't care about me. All I know is that my technical analysis is telling me the market is going to go down and I want to be able to get in. So what does that mean? Selling or going short? Easy, easy, easy. You're entering at a higher price point, exiting at a lower price point, and taking that profit in between. That's it. There's no overthinking it, guys. This is where you're shorting the market. This is where you are selling in the market. It's a bear market when the market is going down. And by the way, traders make usually more money on the shorts than on the longs. Just so you guys understand the power of shorting the market. And that's all about understanding technical analysis. So now let's dive into that technical analysis. So the sideways market or the consolidation areas, the transition areas, I literally call it the trader's worst enemy. So why is that? What is it? Look, you have to be able to spot these areas and you have to be able to stay out of them entirely. Because look here, this is a consolidation market. This is the chop, the indecision zone, whatever you want to call it, but it is completely uncertain where it's going, right? It's bouncing back and forth, back and forth. Now, why is it that this is the place that we end up losing the majority of our money? Easy to explain. Trading is a very emotional activity, right? It's a very emotional performance activity. Why is that? Because we create all this emotional baggage and all these emotional stories that we attach to the market. So when we see something like this forming, two things start to happen. Well, mainly I shouldn't say two things. Two types of traders have these thoughts. And there's only two types of traders out there. I don't care if there's millions upon millions of people in the markets. There are two types of traders overall. The first one is the trend is your friend type of a trader. Okay. And what does that mean? It means when they are looking at this kind of a market, because they think of themselves as the trend is your friend, what are they looking at? They're like, you know what? The market's been going up all day. I'm going to continue going long. Then you have the other type of trader, and that is the contrarian trader. And they're looking at the market and they're like, you know what? The market's been going up all day. It's got to correct. I am going short. Here's the reality, guys. We cannot be either of those types of traders. We need to be the trader that is looking at the market and reading the market and is saying to themselves, you know what? The market is flat. It is doing nothing right now. It is in complete indecision zone, and I'm going to sit this one out, because that is what pro traders do. Pro traders know that the most important activity that they can do is to wait and patiently listen to the market. All right, because there's only three things that we do as traders. We look for when to get into the market, we look for when we get out of the market, and we have to look to know when to sit out of the market. And that, interestingly enough, is the hardest thing to do. So when you're recognizing this and you're starting to understand that logistically, this is the place to stay out. It is not about beating the market or predicting what the market is going to do. It is about sitting and looking at the market and recognizing, I'm not touching this market. That is the unemotional, unattached trader. And those are the ones that usually win, because we could have a really strong downward market, and then we could have a really big consolidating market, but that does not mean that it's going to continue going down. And it does not also mean that it's going to transition into a new trend, but it can do either one. And until it does, we cannot enter any of those markets. And it could be really quick ones, right? It could be mini consolidations. I call them interim areas, just slowdowns. But it could also be a complete transition until it changes direction overall. And you could have quite a lot of these, right? You could have one consolidation, a breakout, then you could have another consolidation, another breakout. So this way you could also bank on the amount of breakouts, but you have to understand what is happening when it's right in front of you. So when you're having these types of areas, look at this, it's just bouncing back and forth. It is so unattractive. There is absolutely no real movement. You don't want to be in this market. You don't want to give the market your money, right? Until you know. Now, what are these? Overall, they are areas. And the market respects areas, and we, as the individual retail traders, we also need to recognize these areas and respect them. What are these areas? I call them the safety net, or the safety seatbelts of trading. Okay, look, here's the reality, guys. I don't know if I'm sure all of you have heard of Formula One or NASCAR or whatever of these car races, right? Like, they're really big deals. It is a known fact, especially with Formula One, that it is a known fact that 25% of the drivers are either going to get into an accident or, even worse, have a fatality. So when they enter their car, they have a fireproof uniform on. They have their helmet on. When they get in, they have multiple seatbelts, because they are putting themselves into a dangerous situation, so they need to protect themselves. That means 25% get hurt. In the trading world, 95% of people fail. That means they end up losing money. So why are they not putting on their safety gear? All right. Support and resistance areas are those safety belts, safety gears, whatever you want to call them, because this is where the market is telling you, stop. I'm not sure what I'm going to do, but if you're going to keep on putting your money in, you will keep losing, because I'm not even sure where I'm going. And you need to understand what that means. So these areas are the support and the resistance areas. Okay, so what exactly is a resistance area? It is literally the ceiling of the market. Literally, that's it. It's pretty simple, right? If you're having an upward trend and all of a sudden the market is being hit over and over and over again in a certain location, you need to draw that area in. You cannot have a mental resistance or a mental support area, because that's crazy. And you need to draw it in, because the market will revisit those areas. And it's also a place where, I'm not going to enter because it might not break through. Even if it's super strong, you cannot. And I've met so many people that they're like, oh, it's a resistance area, a support area, it's going to break through and I'm going in. Well, I'm like, if that's the case, what has your back testing method shown you? Usually two things happen. One, they don't even have a back testing method, so they're just going in blindly with their really hard earned money. Or two, they're not paying attention to what their back testing method is showing them. And when they start to actually look at the data, they're like, you know what? You're right. This is a time where I need to stay out. So the resistance area is the ceiling of the market, and it can revisit it over and over again. So when you draw those areas in, you are completely prepared. Okay, this is the resistance area. What is a support area? It is the exact opposite. It is the floor of the market. It is when you have a downward trend, and it could be a small downward trend or a really strong one, but all of a sudden it's hitting that area over and over and over and over again. Guess what? That is a support area, and you need to understand that, and you need to stay out until that area is either broken or completely transitions into a new place. All right, and when you do that is you start to draw that in. You need to have that drawing in. Look, it doesn't matter which software you guys are using. It doesn't matter because every single platform gives you at least some sort of a drawing tool. Any kind of a drawing tool, honestly. You could even have just something as basic as a line, but it gives you that understanding. And when you're in the market, you're going to be looking to the left and you're going to be recognizing, okay, this is an area that the market has revisited, and you're going to know what is going on in front of you. You're not going to be going blindly. You're going to be completely understanding what is happening. Support area, it is the floor of the market. And now you have a channeling market. So now you could recognize when it is bouncing back and forth because you have drawn in your resistance area, you have drawn in your support area, and you're aware of what is happening, and you're going to be waiting for it to either break through if it's continuing in one direction or give you an entirely new direction. But you need to have this drawn out. You need to understand what is going on. Otherwise, guess what? You are not going to be able to understand why you're constantly losing. Okay, and that is so important. Look at this market, guys. Even in a channel, this is ugly behavior, and it's a wide channel, but there's absolutely no direction. There's no direction. Do you really want to be in a market that has absolutely no direction and you have no idea where it's going? This is like not even a roller coaster, because with roller coasters, you kind of have an idea. This is just completely off the rails roller coaster, right? Zero understanding of what's happening. You don't want to be in these types of markets. You want to be in a flowing market. Now, the other question that I get is, all right, well, I could spot the resistance in the support area after it's already happened, but how can I spot it before so I can save myself money so that I don't lose it when it first happens? And that's a great question, right? And the way to do that, and the coolest thing of all, is that it can be done pretty easily. And that is through reversal patterns and divergence. Okay, so what is a reversal area? Pretty simple. It is double tops, triple tops, double bottoms, triple bottoms, head and shoulders, right? These things they're just amazing, and they're really, really basic and super simple to understand and spot. So for instance, right here, you have this reversal pattern, okay? This is a triple top. We're gonna go into it a little bit more. But when you add in a reversal area with a divergence, and that is just gold. That is the market literally screaming at you, stay out. Because I have absolutely no strength in this market. I'm really not sure what I'm going to be doing. Just wait until I give you more confirmation. So what exactly is divergence? As you can see right here, my price action is going up. Meanwhile, my MACDs, which I said before, I only use 2 indicators, and I use the MACDs because it is the least lagging indicator that I have personally found. So when my MACDs are showing me the opposite direction versus the one that my price action is going, I'm already seeing that there is this discrepancy, this divergence, right? It's becoming a divergent area, meaning that there is going to be either a correction, there's going to be weakness, who knows exactly, but I do know for sure that it could be anything, and I do not want to be putting my money into a market which is uncertain of what it's actually going to be doing. And when I'm seeing a reversal pattern, like in this case, I have a perfect double bottom with a divergence. That screams to me almost 90% of the chance that it is either going to completely reverse or go into a consolidation area, into a sideways market. So I am totally staying out. Look, guys, being conservative is actually a really good thing because money is king. And the more conservative you are, then the more likely you will take that trade that is going to be really giving you the highest amount of reward. And that's what it's all about. It's about the consistency. It's not about that one-off massive aggressive move, right? So triple top, look at this beautiful triple top right there. That's telling me that there is a resistance area that is starting, or it could be a total reversal pattern. And then on top of that, I also have divergence, right? So all of that really, really, really makes a difference. So I want to now put all of this together. Like I said earlier, you could get the entire presentation, makingofadaytrader.com. Go there right now to be able to get it so that when Sherry sends you the replay, you'll be able to go and use it with all of that. All right, so now let's put this all together and let's see how we can apply this to the breakout areas, right? How do we spot a breakout? So what exactly, before we do that, maybe we should discuss what exactly is a breakout. Okay, because a lot of my students, when we work on this particular thing, a breakout, they actually aren't exactly sure what it is until we really zone in on it. So what exactly is a breakout? Now, imagine you are all the way at the bottom. You see that bottom pivot? Imagine that's where you are living. And your best friend is living at the very, very top pivot. Do you see the difference right there? And your friend calls you up and they're like, hey, I'm having an impromptu party. Come on over. And you've been to their house a million times. So you get in your car, you get on the highway, and you're going confidently going to your friend's house. But all of a sudden, there's this massive construction site, and there's a big sign, and the construction worker is telling you got to get off the highway because you can't go there anymore. It's closed. So now you are in a totally unfamiliar area. And you're driving, you're nervous. At least this is what happens to me when I am in a detour during construction. First and foremost, I'm looking at my maps, my Google Maps or my Waze, and they have not caught up with the detour, and they keep on sending me back to the highway. So I have no hope there. Then I'm concerned, are they going to keep on showing me where the detour signs are? Because I've been plenty of places where they stopped. Then I'm concerned, oh my God, will I have enough gas? Where am I going? Is there going to be a gas station? So all of these uncertain thoughts are in my head, right? Like I'm completely uncertain. What is happening? What am I doing? Is it going to go open? Is this a place that I really want to put money on? No, because I have absolutely no confidence in what the next step is going to be. Then I'm driving and all of a sudden the construction worker is like, okay, guys, the highway is fixed. You can get right back on and continue going up. Boom. All of a sudden, I am back in the highway in familiar ground and I'm back in the confidence zone. That is the breakout. That is when you see that the market is continuing in that same direction. That is the breakout. Okay. So when you recognize that, then you are able to hop in at the beginning of that breakout because that is the strongest part of the trade, right? It is the beginning, it is that continuation, right? And you want to be in it as early as possible. And when you have your areas drawn out, when you have your resistance area, when you have your support area drawn in, you can see where that breakout happens and you are ready to take it, okay? So let's talk about how the breakout setup actually works. Like I mentioned earlier, I use only two indicators. I use the MACDs and the EMA lines. So I've already explained to you how I use my MACDs. I use it for looking at the strength to see if there's divergence. And the way I use my EMA lines is for the entry points, right? I never go into a market entry because market entries is telling the market that I am an amateur, right? So I like to show the market that I know where I'm going. And it's kind of like an archer, right? An archer does not just walk around aimlessly on a field with their bow and arrow. They have a very specific place where they take their stance and they throw their arrow right into the bullseye. And it's the same thing for me. So I use the EMA lines like that. So as you can see here, I have this resistance area drawn in. My MACDs, you can look at the right there, where that dash line for the MACDs are, that's the zero line. At the zero area, that's where there's no strength. But when it when it shoots up and shows me all that strength, boom, that's when I know that that is a really strong area for the setup. Now, I mentioned earlier that I have another way of looking at a breakout, but it's kind of the opposite, right? And this is a bonus trade setup. I call this the initial reaction trade setup. Basically, it's a transition setup, right? It's when the market transitions into a new trend. So I want you guys to understand what I'm talking about with a new trend. Imagine you want to go jogging. Okay, you got your jogging clothes on, you got your jogging shoes on, and you're out the door. That is the beginning of a new trend. This is when you have the most amount of energy, you are out the door, you are the most hyped up. So if I'm about to put any money on you, that is probably the place that I want to do it as soon as possible. The same thing with a new trend, right? After it completely lost, the old trend, that new trend usually has quite a lot of strength and power in the beginning. And that's how I recognize it, by I'm seeing that I've already drawn out the areas and then that transition. And again, with my MACDs, it's showing me that strength. Okay, and being in as early as possible, that's when you also could get the most amount of your reward for that. All right, like I said earlier, everything that I'm talking about is in making of a day trader. So here's the thing, guys, okay? We have absolutely everything that we need to take action, right? Everything. We have these amazing summits. There's all these amazing YouTubers. There's great books. There's podcasters. There's all this information out there. But then at the end of the day, how do you really know if you're doing it right? Just like I mentioned earlier, like we all have an idea what a breakout trade is. But when I start to work with my students, and they're just, trying to figure out what the breakout is, a lot of them don't fully understand until we really get into it and until they really understand what that is. And it's okay to not fully understand, right? That's the beginning. But the reality is how do you know you're doing it right? Like, how are you able to recognize that? And all of this is great. But the real question is, how do I truly get started? And a lot of it isn't from beginners. I get this from seasoned traders that are, been trading a while and are still inconsistent. They are still not profitable and still losing money, right? And usually it really just boils down to understanding the basics. Like I mentioned earlier, it's not having that foundation, that wall to hold in your windows. So every time you put in a new window, it's crashing down because you don't have those basic pillars in place. And learning the basics it's actually quite basic, right? But when you're not being taught the basics, that's the problem, right? And that's what I have found to be the hardest. For instance, like I mentioned earlier with the car, right? My oldest son just recently learned how to drive a car. And I remember when me and my husband were teaching him, when he first hopped in the car, all confident, thinking that he's going to be able to rock it and start driving already, like on the Autobahn within a day. And we sat down the first time, we're like, okay, buckle up. Put your gear into first. Make sure your clutch is in. Make sure to start to release the brake really slow. He's like, wait. Clutch, gear, what are you talking about? I don't understand any of this. Because those are the basics of driving, right? It's like, where's the steering wheel? Where is the windshield wipers? These are the basics. But if you're not taught right away, you're going to miss out, right? Today, he hops in. He totally knows where everything is. No problem whatsoever. Now, I want you guys to just really open up your minds and imagine for a second you are in a car and you have a passenger that just entered the car, and this passenger has never been in a car before. And you're like, all right, buckle up, your seatbelt is going to save your life. and they're looking around and they're like, seatbelts, buckle up. What is that? I don't know what that is, but it's going to save my life, right? So if nobody ever taught this person what that is, they're not going to know what it is, and it's okay. We are not born with this information, and that is literally what was happening to me. And I was spending thousands of dollars on my education, on my trainings. I spent over $20,000 on my training, and yet I struggled for years, and I kept on losing money. And one thing I realized, every time I was in some chat room or on some conference and asking basic questions like, can you please explain to me about the resistance area? Can you please explain what is a divergence? What is a reversal pattern? And I was either completely ignored or treated as if though I was born with this information, and no one was born with any of this information. And because of that, I just kept on losing money, and to the point where I literally ended up losing almost $4,000 within 5 minutes. And I was devastated. This was after a couple of years of struggling. And at that point, I just quit. I quit. I felt like a complete failure. I felt like I was just completely devastated because I put in so much time, so much money, and I couldn't do it anymore, and I quit. But here's the thing, guys, and I know for a fact that everybody in this room right now, we are all bit by the trading bug, right? We are all bit by the trading bug, and it never truly stops itching. And do you know why? Why it never stops itching? And this was the reason for me why I needed to come back, is because deep down inside, we know that we could do this, right? We are seeing other people do this, so we know that it is possible, and we're smart enough to be able to do it. So we know deep down inside that it can be done. And that is literally exactly what happened to me. I'm like, I know that this can be done. And that's when I stripped my charts of all my indicators. I had like 10 indicators. I had 3 charts and monitors going on. I was in constant analysis paralysis, and I decided to focus only on the basics. And that's when I really started to learn all about the basics. I put in over a year just studying the charts because, you know, my wounds were still pretty raw, and I did not want to lose any more money. And at that point, and then I started to learn the markets, becoming successful and I've been, you know, becoming consistently profitable. And I started talking about what I've been doing, and all of a sudden, you know, people wanted to learn with me. And one of my students said to me, he's like, you know, Marina, your whole trading philosophy and and the way you are talking about it is very similar to Coach John Wooden. And I'm like, who is Coach John Wooden? I've never heard of this guy before, right? And one thing, and of course, I had to go and check out, who is this Coach John Wooden? And I don't know if you guys have ever heard of him, but he is, to this day, the most legendary basketball coach out there. He has passed away already, but there's no one that really has even come up to his legendary status. And his entire teaching philosophy and training is all about, when in doubt, get back to the basics. And let me tell you, this guy, his accolades, I mean, his team has won 88 national championships, 10 NCAAs. He trained only the greatest superstars. These guys were incredible. However, at the beginning of every single season, he would start them off with the basics. How to tie your shoe, how to roll up your sock, how to dribble the ball. Why? Because it doesn't matter how much they have succeeded. The ego is always going to get to you. And sometimes you could be so egotistical that you're like, I know it all. Get out on that court, but didn't tie your shoelace, the basics properly. Boom, your shoe isn't on right. You sprain your ankle. And it doesn't matter how many NCAAs you've won. You're sitting that out because your ankle is sprained. So getting back to the basics and having that foundation will keep you completely grounded and to be able to really do your big things when you have that. And that's all about understanding. So today I want to talk to you guys about my introductory course, which is only for you guys. Nobody else is going to get this offer. It's only for the people who are live participating right here, right now, because I understand how important your time is, and I truly, truly value it. And this is my introductory course, Bootcamp for Day Trading. You could do it on any laptop, desktop, tablets, phones, anywhere. You could do it from anywhere in the world. And all of this is one-time price of $97. One time. This is not a recurring fee. One time, $97. Now, I want you guys to go into your URLs right now, into your computer, and put in bootcampfordaytrading.com. Go and put it in right now. So this way you can follow along to see what it is that is being offered for $97. Because the reality is, what can you get for $97 today that you would the same as this investment? Do you guys like to golf? Because I'll tell you one thing. When me and my husband first moved to Guatemala, we liked to golf. We used to go to this golf course, beautiful golf course. It was $29 per person. Before we moved, 14 years later, it was $119 per person in Guatemala. So I can't imagine how much it will cost you guys in somewhere else. Okay, you want to go out to lunch or take your family out to dinner? I don't know, $97 does not go very far anymore, right? So this investment is really going to be able to help you take you to the next level, and it is a small investment. Now, let me break it down to you. You got to go to bootcampfordaytrading.com. Go and check this out. This is what you guys are going to be getting with the course. First and foremost, I mentioned that you cannot do anything without a good platform. I also know that platforms can be challenging to understand. So I have a 30-minute platform tutorial set up so that you don't have to worry about the platform setup, and I have seen them all. This way you can get right into the trading, into the fun stuff, okay? Then we really get into the anatomy, the breakdown, dissecting those upward trends, the sideways trends, understanding downward trends, reversals and divergences, and truly, truly understanding how to apply them and how to implement them. Then we're going to be talking about the telltale signs, right? Like understanding the support and the resistance areas, because they are really, really important. And divergences, guys, divergence to me is my holy grail. I do everything with divergence, and it has saved me so much bad trading and shown me so much strong trading, which is what we are looking for, those strong, highly probable trades. And that really boils down to it. But if you don't know what you're looking for, you're not going to be able to recognize it, and you're not going to be able to master that breakout trade. So that is what we're going to be doing. We're going to be understanding how to master the breakout trade, and not only that, how to avoid those fake out breakouts, because they do happen and they are completely avoidable. So we can totally avoid how to do that as well. And you'll have unlimited access to the curriculum for life. All this is valued at $1,600. This is everything that you guys are going to be getting, okay? The workspace, dissection, respecting those areas, the power of the breakout. So don't take my word for it. I have had students from all over the world, because that's the cool thing about trading, right? You can literally do it from anywhere in the world. That is the greatest part of it all. So here's what one of my students has said. I just finished the boot camp. Best money I have ever spent. You are one of the only mentors that truly checks the work, and you are absolutely amazing. I am learning and enjoying the boot camp every single day. All right, guys, I want to share one really important thing with you. What did I mention in the beginning? How do you know that you are doing it right? Who are you accountable to? How do you know if what you're seeing is really what it is? How do you know? So that's the thing. I know the power of a mentor, having a coach, someone to be accountable. So in that one-time $97 fee, you get one entire month unlimited mentorship with me, one-on-one. That comes with that fee. And I have the best for last, because having a mentor is going to change your world, but also having a live chat, being in the live market, and that is also included in this course. I have a live chat room where it's me sitting there live, implementing, taking the live trades. That is on top of the one-on-one. Okay, guys, and all of this is valued at $2,600. But because you are here live, one time, $97. I want you guys to go to right here, right now, bootcampfordaytrading.com. Go to the bootcampfordaytrading.com right now, and you can follow along and see everything right there. All right, let me just see here. I know there's quite a few questions here. Hang on a second.
You know what I
Okay,
do,
Marina.
Marina? I always, yeah, you got it. Sorry.
Oh, for the questions. So
Yep.
Joe asked me, which EMA lines do I use? I use 3 EMA lines. I use the 25, the 52, and the 135. So I use 3 EMA lines that I use for all the time. So you guys can go right here, bootcampfordaytrading.com, so you can follow along and see everything that I am offering right here. So here's what you guys will get for the $97. Everything in the course. 30 days one-on-one mentorship with me and 30 days in the live trade chat room. And here's the reality. Here is the wake-up call, okay? We all know that this is way less than one trade. I personally, my trades are usually between $200 to $400, which is the average trade for most people. $97, and you're going to get all this information and working with me is less than one trade. The cost of this course is literally going to bring you 10x the return on your investment alone. And this way, you can guys go to 100 of these dinners, right? But here's the thing. And this is really important to understand. Because of my mentorship, I am only able to take on 25 students. I cannot do more than that simply because I really want to pay full attention to you guys. And there's quite a lot of people in the room. So this is going to be bought out really, really quick. $97, honestly, it's a kind of a no-brainer. Right here, to have just the mentorship alone is completely priceless, right? So here, what we're going to do, I'm going to show you right now. Hang on just one second. All right, so go into your URL. You're going to put in bootcampfordaytrading.com, and it's going to take you to this order form right here. All right, so you'll see it right here, Bootcamp for Day Trading. You'll see that you could just do the one-time $97 and have full access. But if you really want to, you could also do a payment plan of 2 months for $59 each, but you get instant access to everything right away. All right, so you'll have instant access to everything that we have talked about right here. So go to bootcampfordaytrading.com right here. Now, if you guys have any questions or anything at all, please let me know. I know that a lot of times people ask, well, I can't start the mentorship or the live chat room right away. That's fine. I actually recommend that you first go through the course and you tell me when you are ready for the mentorship and to enter the live chat room. And we do it with like that. Since you have access to the curriculum for life, a lot of my students do just that. All right, guys, so let me know if there's any questions. And again, I really appreciate you guys taking this time out to be here today with us. And let me know if there's anything I could do. Thanks so much, Sherry, for having me. As always, I love being part of this.
Moomoo is our sponsor for September. With Moomoo, you get free access to real-time LV2 market data of US stocks. And for a limited time, join 19 million Moomoo users and get up to 16 free stocks, including Tesla or Google, when you register for a new account with this link. And you fund it with at least $100. So the way it works out is for the month of September, deposit $100, you get 5 free stocks. If you deposit $1,000, you get the 5 free stocks plus 10 free stocks. And if you want to have a $5,000 account, you get the first 2 tiers plus 1 free share of Tesla or Google.